Wealth isn't random. It's not luck. It's not inheritance. It's not born from talent. Wealth is built systematically, deliberately, scientifically. Every self-made billionaire, every elite entrepreneur, every investor who rose from nothing, they followed principles that most people ignore. Not just financial principles, but mental ones. Because money follows psychology before it follows numbers. You can't hold wealth with a poor mindset. You can't build freedom with emotional decisions. This audiobook isn't about get-rich-quick fantasies. It's about mental infrastructure, the exact mental framework required to build, multiply, and protect wealth in a modern world. The science is simple. Wealth flows to those who think long-term, act strategically, and execute daily. These 20 chapters are not about motivation. They're about method. Because wealth isn't given to the lucky, it's earned by the disciplined. Let's break down the modern billionaire formula, the science of getting wealthy. Chapter 1. Rewrite your money blueprint. Every person has a money blueprint, an invisible mental script that silently shapes the way they earn, save, spend, and grow wealth. It's not written in your bank account, but deep in your subconscious mind. You may think you're chasing financial success, but more often than not, you're simply living out the script you inherited, one that's been playing in the background since childhood. The truth is, wealth isn't just about numbers. It's about neurology and belief. Your outer financial reality is a mirror of your inner financial identity. If your internal programming says money is hard to get, your life will reflect that struggle. If it says rich people are greedy, you'll unconsciously sabotage your chances of becoming one. Before you can attract wealth, you must rewrite the mental code that's repelling it. Your subconscious beliefs about money control your outcomes. Not your goals, not your effort, but your inner programming. Think about it. Two people can start with the same opportunity, same intelligence, same drive, yet one builds abundance while the other stays stuck. Why? Because one operates from a prosperity script, while the other operates from a scarcity script. A scarcity script sounds like this. Money is evil. Rich people are selfish. You have to work endlessly to make a living. I'm not smart or lucky enough to be wealthy. These thoughts seem harmless, but they shape every decision you make. You will reject opportunities that could make you rich, delay action out of fear, or spend money in ways that sabotage your progress. All to stay consistent with your subconscious story. The good news? You can rewrite your money blueprint, and it starts with awareness. You can't change a belief you can't see. Begin by identifying the mental scripts that govern your relationship with money. Write them down. Where do they come from? Parents? Culture? Religion? Society? Then challenge them one by one. When you say, money is hard to get, ask yourself, is that a universal truth or just a pattern I was taught? There are people who earn millions with ease because they've trained their minds to see money differently. They don't view wealth as a reward for suffering. They see it as an outcome of strategy, mindset, and value. Your financial life follows the same rule as your physical health. You can't outwork a bad mindset. You can work harder, take more jobs, save more aggressively. But if your mind is wired for limitation, you'll always find a way to return to your comfort zone. That's why so many lottery winners lose everything, and why some people keep struggling no matter how much they earn. Their outer world changes, but their inner program doesn't. So, how do you rewire your money mindset? Start with the most powerful tool you have, language. Words shape thoughts, and thoughts shape behavior. Replace scarcity phrases with prosperity language. Instead of, I can't afford that, say, how can I afford that? Instead of, I'll never make that much, say, I'm learning how to make that much. Instead of, money is hard, say, money flows to me through value and creativity. Your subconscious takes everything you say as instruction. Speak limitation, and you'll find proof of it. Speak abundance, and your brain will begin to look for opportunities that match that vibration. Next, redefine what money means to you. Most people were taught that money equals effort, that you have to trade hours for income, sweat for reward. But the wealthy see money differently. They know that money is not the product of hard work, but the product of smart value. Effort creates exhaustion. Value creates wealth. You get paid in proportion to the perceived value you provide to others, not the time you spend doing it. A surgeon can earn in 1 hour what others earn in a year. Not because they work harder, but because their skill delivers extraordinary value. When you stop equating effort with income, you unlock leverage. You start asking new questions. How can I multiply my value? How can I build systems that earn even when I rest? How can I serve more people in less time? These questions activate wealth thinking. Another critical part of rewriting your blueprint is emotional neutrality about money. Many people love the idea of wealth, but secretly resent it. They envy those who have it while feeling guilty for wanting it themselves. That emotional contradiction creates resistance, and resistance repels results. To attract wealth, you must detach from judgment. Money itself is neutral. It simply amplifies who you are. If you're kind, it expands your kindness. If you're greedy, it expands your greed. The problem isn't money. It's the meaning you attach to it. To truly master your money mindset, surround yourself with people, content, and environments that normalize abundance. If everyone around you complains about inflation, bills, or the economy, your subconscious absorbs that frequency. But when you start spending time in rooms where people talk about investments, creation, and growth, your internal thermostat begins to rise. You start thinking like a builder, not a struggler. Reprogramming your financial identity takes time, but it's worth it. Each day, replace one limiting belief with one empowering truth. For example, money isn't scarce, it's circulating. I'm not taking from others by earning more. I'm creating value. My income is a reflection of my growth, not my worth. Soon, these affirmations stop sounding like affirmations and start sounding like reality. Here's the ultimate truth. Wealth isn't something you pursue, it's something you align with. When your mindset, values, and actions match abundance, wealth flows naturally. When they clash with scarcity, you repel it no matter how hard you work. Rewire your mindset to see money as a reflection of value, not effort. See it as energy, a measurement of how much impact you created. Every time you grow in skill, confidence, and creativity, your capacity to generate wealth expands. This is your first step, rewriting the code that runs your financial life. The blueprint that once kept you broke can now become the foundation that builds your fortune. Because once your mind accepts abundance as natural, everything else, opportunities, ideas, income, will rise to match it. Chapter 2. Think long-term, not paycheck to paycheck. Most people live trapped inside a cycle. Earn, spend, repeat. They survive week to week, month to month, constantly chasing the next deposit just to stay afloat. And the tragedy is, many never realize they're not just trapped by income. They're trapped by time perception. They think in days. They plan in paychecks. Meanwhile, the wealthy, the truly wealthy, think in decades. The gap between the poor and the rich isn't just money. It's mindset horizon. The average person trades time for money, focusing on instant gratification. How do I make more this month? Billionaires think in systems and seasons. What foundation am I building that will multiply for years? That's the first major difference, perspective. Where others see now, billionaires see next. They understand that wealth creation is not a lottery of luck, but a process of compounding. Not just compounding money, but compounding thinking, habits, and time. They think in terms of decades because they understand one powerful truth. Patience compounds faster than talent. Talent gets you started, but patience builds the empire. Every great fortune, from Warren Buffett to Elon Musk, was built on a timeline longer than most people are willing to endure. Buffett didn't become one of the richest people in the world because of a secret formula. He became one because he started early and stayed consistent, letting compounding do what human impatience can't. Most people quit too soon. They plant a seed and expect fruit tomorrow. When they don't see immediate results, they give up, switch paths, or lose focus. But billionaires play a different game. They understand that slow growth is still growth, and that long-term leverage always beats short-term hustle. So what does it mean to think long-term in your own life? It means building systems instead of schedules, assets instead of tasks, freedom instead of urgency. It means asking questions that expand time instead of compressing it. What can I build today that pays me tomorrow? How can I make my effort work for me, even when I stop working? If I stayed consistent for 10 years, where would that lead? Most people underestimate what they can achieve in a decade and overestimate what they can do in a week. That's why they're constantly frustrated. They're working hard in the short term, but not thinking strategically in the long term. Stop chasing fast results, build long-term leverage. Fast money fades fast because it's reactive, based on trends, not timeless value. But wealth that lasts is built on principles: patience, compounding, and consistency. Let's look at the difference. The short-term thinker spends time making money. The long-term thinker spends time building systems that make money. Short-term thinkers look for the next promotion. Long-term thinkers build the next product. Short-term thinkers save for a vacation. Long-term thinkers invest for freedom. Every hour you spend creating something that can work without you, a business, a book, an investment, a skill that multiplies, is a step toward long-term wealth. That's how billionaires think. They don't want to work harder. They want to work once and benefit forever. But make no mistake, long-term thinking isn't about waiting. It's about strategic patience. It's active. It's deliberate. It's building the engine before you hit the gas. It's saying, I'll spend the next 5 years building something that others will wish they started 5 years from now. Patience doesn't mean inaction. It means intelligent action. Action that's focused on growth, not gratification. When you think long-term, you stop reacting emotionally to short-term results. A failed month doesn't discourage you. It informs you. A setback doesn't derail you. It redirects you. Because you're not measuring progress by the day. You're measuring it by direction. The world we live in glorifies speed, quick wins, viral fame, overnight success. But every overnight success you see was actually a decade of preparation that finally caught attention. The people who win are those who can delay gratification long enough to see their compound curve rise. It's simple mathematics. The longer you stay consistent, the steeper your growth curve becomes. Compounding is exponential, not linear. The first few years feel like nothing's happening. Then suddenly, everything happens at once. The problem is, most people quit in those quiet years, just before the curve begins to rise. So the question is, are you playing a short game or the infinite game? Are you chasing paychecks or building permanence? The paycheck mindset says, I work, I earn, I spend. The wealth mindset says, I build, I grow, I own. When you shift from paycheck to purpose, you stop chasing money and start designing systems. That's the difference between labor and leverage, between temporary success and lasting wealth. Here's a truth most people overlook. Time is your most valuable asset, and long-term thinkers own more of it. They invest early and wait patiently. They automate income and free up energy. They sacrifice a few years of comfort for a lifetime of control. Thinking long-term means being willing to look foolish now so you can look brilliant later. It means choosing investments over impulse, creation over consumption, mastery over mediocrity. It means focusing less on how much can I make this month and more on what can I build this year that will make next year easier. And here's the paradox. When you stop chasing fast results, you get results faster. Because your energy stops scattering across distractions and starts focusing on meaningful, compounding action. You begin to think, move, and invest like someone building a legacy, not chasing a living. So slow down. Zoom out. Stop measuring your progress in paychecks and start measuring it in positioning, in how well you're setting your future up to multiply. Because in the end, the real wealth isn't just about money. It's about freedom. Freedom from urgency, from debt, from desperation. And that freedom only comes from long-term thinking. Billionaires don't think in days. They think in decades. They know that while others are busy collecting paychecks, they're quietly building empires. Think long-term. Build leverage. Let patience be your unfair advantage. Because time doesn't just reveal who works hard. It reveals who thinks far. Chapter 3. Value creation is the real currency. Everyone wants to make money, but few understand where it actually comes from. Most people chase wealth as if it's a mystery, some hidden formula or secret system reserved for a select few. But the truth is simple and timeless. Money is not the goal, it's the result. It's a reflection of something deeper. Money is just the scorecard of the value you create for others. If you want more money, stop focusing on money. Focus on value. The wealthiest people in history, from innovators like Steve Jobs to investors like Warren Buffett, share one fundamental trait. They don't chase income, they chase impact. They ask, how can I solve a problem that affects millions of people? Because money flows in direct proportion to the problems you solve and the number of people you help. Most people get this backward. They ask, how can I make more money? Instead of, how can I make more value? But here's the rule that never fails. When you create genuine value, money chases you. When you chase money, it runs away. Think of it like this. In any economy, money is simply a form of energy transfer. When you make someone's life easier, better, faster, or happier, they reward you with that energy, money. Every transaction in the world is built on this exchange of value. You give something useful, you receive something valuable. The greater the usefulness, the greater the reward. That's why billionaires think differently. They don't focus on how much they can earn. They focus on how much they can serve. They know that wealth is not about demand. It's about contribution. And contribution scales with creativity, empathy, and innovation. Stop trying to make money. Start solving bigger problems. That one mental shift is the foundation of financial freedom. People will always pay for solutions that matter. The bigger the problem, the greater the potential for wealth. If you help one person, you earn a living. If you help millions, you build an empire. Think about it. A teacher adds value to a classroom, but an entrepreneur who creates a platform that empowers teachers globally adds value to an entire industry. The size of your income is tied directly to the size of your impact. The real difference between struggling and thriving isn't hard work. It's perspective. You can work 16 hours a day and still be broke if you're working on low-value problems. But you can work fewer hours and create exponential income if you focus on high-value creation. So ask yourself, what problems do I solve for people right now? Are those problems small, temporary comfort, or significant, lasting transformation? How can I make my solution faster, cheaper, easier, or more accessible? The most powerful wealth question you can ever ask is, how can I add more value? That question alone can transform your career, your business, and your life. Because it shifts your focus from self to service, from taking to giving, from scarcity to abundance. Here's the truth. The marketplace doesn't reward effort. It rewards effectiveness. It doesn't care how long you worked. It cares how much value you delivered. It doesn't pay you for time. It pays you for transformation. A billionaire's time is not more valuable because they're special. It's more valuable because of what they do with it. 1 hour of their decision-making can create millions in value for others. 1 hour of your focused creation could change your income forever if you direct it towards solving the right problem. The secret is leverage, creating systems, services, or products that deliver value even when you're not personally involved. That's how true wealth multiplies. When your ideas, tools, or influence can impact people while you sleep, you've entered the realm of exponential value creation. And here's what most people miss. You don't need to start big to think big. Start where you are with what you have. Look for small problems in your environment and solve them exceptionally well. That's how every great empire begins. Not with ambition for money, but with obsession for improvement. The smartphone wasn't invented to make its creator rich. It was designed to make communication simple. Netflix wasn't built to chase profits. It was built to solve frustration. Amazon didn't start as a global marketplace. It started as a faster way to get books. The founders didn't chase money. They chased value. The money came as a natural byproduct. The world doesn't pay for what it doesn't need. So if you're struggling financially, it's not a punishment. It's feedback. It's life saying, increase your value. That might mean learning a new skill, developing a better product, refining your communication, or thinking more creatively. The wealthiest people aren't the smartest. They're the most valuable. The more people you serve, the more wealth you earn. But service doesn't mean self-sacrifice. It means contribution. It means doing what you do best in a way that uplifts others. When you focus on making other people's lives better, your income becomes a mirror reflecting your impact. That's why the best businesses in the world don't sell. They serve. They don't convince people to buy. They create things people can't imagine living without. That's the true power of value creation. It makes wealth effortless because it aligns with human need. Here's the paradox. The more you focus on giving value, the more value you receive. Because money follows energy, and the energy of service always attracts abundance. So if you want to be wealthy, stop asking, how do I get more? And start asking, how do I give more smarter? The answer will guide you toward purpose, innovation, and prosperity, all at once. Because wealth isn't built by those who take the most. It's built by those who create the most. And once you truly understand that value is the real currency, you'll never chase money again. You'll build it, one solution, one contribution, one life changed at a time. Chapter 4. Systems over hustle. The modern world romanticizes hustle. It glorifies exhaustion as ambition and busyness as progress. You'll hear people say, I'm grinding, as if constant motion is the same as forward movement. But here's the truth the wealthy understand. Hustle burns energy, systems build empires. Hustle is chaos disguised as productivity. It's the endless cycle of reacting instead of building. It can get you started, but it won't get you free. Hustle depends on your energy. Systems depend on your intelligence. And energy is limited. Intelligence, when applied to systems, is infinite. The broke mindset says, if I want to earn more, I have to work more. The wealthy mindset says, if I want to earn more, I must design better systems. Because wealth doesn't multiply through effort. It multiplies through structure. Look around at the most successful people and companies in the world. None of them are powered by pure hustle. They're powered by systems, repeatable, reliable frameworks that produce consistent results with minimal friction. Jeff Bezos didn't become the richest man in the world by working harder than everyone else. He built systems that worked harder than him. Hustle is about speed. Systems are about scale. Hustle can get you quick wins. Systems sustain those wins for a lifetime. Hustle is about force. Systems are about flow. The shift from hustler to builder happens the moment you realize that doing everything yourself is not strength. It's limitation. Replace random effort with repeatable processes. That's the formula every wealth creator eventually learns. Random effort leads to burnout. Systems lead to predictability. When your actions are guided by structure, you stop starting over every day. You start compounding. You gain momentum, consistency, and freedom all at once. Ask yourself this. What parts of your life or business rely entirely on your effort? What would collapse if you stopped working tomorrow? That's where you need systems. A system is simply a design process that creates results without constant oversight. It's a machine that keeps producing value even when you step away. Whether it's a business funnel, an investment plan, a daily routine, or a personal development ritual, systems protect your output from your emotions. You don't need motivation when you have automation. That's why the wealthy obsess over structure. They don't just work hard, they work smart once. They spend hours building what others are too impatient to plan, and then they reap the rewards for years. Systems are the invisible engine behind effortless success. Think about it like this. Hustle is rowing a boat. Systems are building a sail. When you row, you burn yourself out with every stroke. When you build a sail, you harness the wind, and the wind does the work for you. The hustler runs on sweat. The strategist runs on leverage. Automate, delegate, and scale. That's how wealth multiplies. Automate. Use technology and tools to handle repetitive tasks. Every hour you automate is an hour you win back. If something can be done by a machine, it shouldn't be done by you. Delegate. Stop trying to do everything yourself. The wealthiest people in the world aren't lone wolves. They're architects surrounded by talent. Delegation isn't weakness, it's leadership. Build teams, not tasks. Scale. Once you've automated and delegated, amplify what works. Systems are meant to expand, not by adding effort, but by adding reach. Here's the key insight. Systems turn your hustle into infrastructure. They transform your daily grind into an asset that runs independently. That's why millionaires build businesses, but billionaires build systems that run businesses. Hustle is survival. Systems are sovereignty. If you want to transition from working in your life to working on your life, start thinking like an engineer, not a laborer. Engineers design systems that solve problems once and scale infinitely. Laborers solve the same problem every day with the same amount of effort. One multiplies, the other maintains. When you rely solely on hustle, your income stops the moment you do. But when you rely on systems, your income continues even when you rest. That's real financial freedom. Not working endlessly, but creating frameworks that make work optional. And here's the secret. Systems don't kill creativity, they enhance it. When your foundational work runs automatically, your mind is free to innovate. You're no longer buried in the noise of daily survival. You're focused on strategy, expansion, and new possibilities. Building systems doesn't mean you stop working. It means your work starts compounding. Every process you build becomes a machine that saves you time, energy, and mental bandwidth. Over time, your systems stack. Your habits become automatic. Your business becomes self-sustaining, and your wealth becomes self-multiplying. That's why billionaires don't wake up asking, "What do I need to do today?" They wake up asking, "What system can I improve today?" They don't chase to-do lists. They build engines that move automatically. Your goal is simple. Make your effort redundant. Design your life so that results are not dependent on how much you do, but on how well your systems perform. Build routines that generate consistency. Create frameworks that protect your focus. Set up automation that protects your time. The hustler spends life trading energy for money. The builder spends life trading intelligence for freedom. And when you make that shift from hustle to system, everything changes. You stop working for your money and start letting your systems work for you. Hustle burns energy. Systems build empires. Because the ultimate wealth isn't built through exhaustion, it's built through efficiency. Hustle is a phase. Systems are the foundation. So stop running faster. Start building smarter. Because once your systems are in place, success stops being an effort. It becomes an expectation. Chapter 5. Turn information into implementation. We live in the age of unlimited knowledge, yet limited results. Never before has information been so accessible, and yet so underused. People consume motivational videos, podcasts, courses, and books daily, but few ever act on what they learn. They collect ideas instead of executing them. They confuse understanding with transformation. But here's the truth the wealthy live by. The rich don't know more. They apply more. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is. The information you don't use is mental clutter. It feels productive, but it's not progress. You can study success your whole life and still fail if you never move from learning to doing. The gap between information and implementation is where most dreams die. Every piece of wisdom, every strategy, every secret in the world is useless without action. Because knowledge is potential energy. Execution is kinetic wealth. Wealth isn't built in libraries. It's built in laboratories where ideas are tested, refined, and brought to life. Think about it. Everyone has access to the same tools, courses, and concepts as millionaires. The difference isn't access. It's application. Wealthy people don't hoard knowledge. They weaponize it. They learn fast, act faster, and adjust fastest. The poor mindset says, I'll learn everything before I start. The rich mindset says, I'll start, then learn what I need as I go. Because action breeds clarity. You don't figure it all out in your head. You figure it out through motion. The moment you take the first imperfect step, the world starts giving you feedback. That feedback is far more valuable than theory. It tells you what works, what doesn't, and where to pivot. That's how the wealthy learn, through implementation. They treat every action as an experiment. They don't fear mistakes because mistakes are data. They refine instead of retreating. While others wait for certainty, they move with curiosity. You don't need more information. You need more integration. You don't need another strategy. You need consistent execution. One well-applied lesson is worth more than 1,000 forgotten insights. Study less. Apply more. Refine constantly. Most people binge on learning like junk food. They read 10 books, watch a dozen videos, attend multiple workshops, and then do nothing. They become professional consumers of ideas, always preparing but never producing. But knowledge without action is just another form of procrastination. It gives you the feeling of progress while keeping you comfortably stuck. The wealthy avoid this trap by applying the 3-to-1 rule. For every hour they spend learning, they spend at least 3 hours implementing. They understand that experience is the ultimate teacher, not theory. You can't learn swimming by reading about water. You must dive in. Every idea you don't act on begins to fade from your mind. Every idea you act on becomes part of your identity. It's how you train your subconscious to believe you're capable. Each time you follow through, you reinforce trust in yourself. And that self-trust compounds into confidence, and confidence into wealth. Implementation also requires discipline, the discipline to stay with something long enough to see it work. Most people give up too soon because results don't appear immediately. But wealthy thinkers understand that results lag behind action. The work you do today pays dividends months or years from now. That's why consistency beats enthusiasm every time. Here's a secret. Successful people don't chase motivation. They chase momentum. They know that action creates emotion, not the other way around. Waiting to feel ready is a trap. You act first, the readiness comes later. Every skill, every business, every breakthrough is built on repetition, doing, reviewing, refining. The wealthy treat improvement like science. They test, fail, and adapt, not emotionally, but intelligently. They're not afraid to start messy because they know perfectionism is the enemy of progress. If you want to join that mindset, stop saying, I'll start when I know enough. You already know enough to begin. Knowledge grows with motion. Instead of asking, what should I learn next? Ask, what should I apply next? Instead of taking another course, take consistent action on what you already know. Instead of collecting tips, collect results. Think of every new piece of knowledge like a seed. If you don't plant it through action, it rots. But once planted, it grows roots, expands, and bears fruit. The goal is not to collect more seeds. It's to cultivate more growth. Implementation also creates differentiation. Everyone has access to the same information today: Google, AI, books, and mentors. But very few execute it consistently. In a world full of knowledge consumers, the doers automatically rise to the top. Because results are rare, and rarity is valuable. Here's a billionaire principle to remember. Speed of execution determines speed of success. The faster you move from learning to doing, the quicker you turn insight into income. The longer you hesitate, the colder your momentum becomes. But don't mistake speed for recklessness. Fast execution doesn't mean rushing. It means reducing delay. It means acting on what's clear now while refining what's unclear along the way. You'll never have perfect timing, but consistent timing beats perfection every day. And when things don't work, don't quit. Refine. Every failure contains a formula. Review what happened, extract the lesson, adjust your strategy, and try again. That's the feedback loop of success. Learn, apply, adjust, repeat. Because wealth isn't created by those who know the most. It's created by those who apply the fastest and refine the deepest. So, stop collecting information. Start collecting proof. Proof that you acted, proof that you adapted, proof that you improved. Every bit of implementation builds momentum, and momentum is what turns ordinary effort into extraordinary success. Remember this truth: knowledge builds potential, but execution builds empires. Study less, apply more, refine constantly, because the future doesn't belong to those who know. It belongs to those who implement. Chapter 6. Learn to think in terms of return. The average person thinks in terms of effort. How hard am I working? How many hours am I putting in? The wealthy think in terms of return. What am I getting back for what I'm putting in? This single mental shift separates those who survive from those who scale. Every action, every decision, every conversation, every investment of your time and energy has a return attached to it, either positive or negative. The question is, are you measuring it? Everything has an ROI: time, energy, relationships, decisions. You don't just spend money, you spend minutes. You don't just invest in businesses, you invest in behaviors. And the real difference between average results and extraordinary wealth lies in your ability to optimize those invisible investments. Most people live like energy leaks, constantly giving time, emotion, and attention to things that don't return anything valuable. They treat everything as equal when it isn't. The wealthy are ruthless about this. They don't just look at what something costs, they look at what it returns. They don't waste a single unit of focus on things that don't compound. This is the mindset of mastery. Ask yourself daily, what's the return on this? What's the return on scrolling endlessly through social media? What's the return on that conversation that drains your focus? What's the return on working harder instead of smarter? What's the return on saying yes when you should have said no? When you start thinking like this, you begin filtering life through a lens of efficiency. You stop doing more and start doing what matters more. Here's the secret. Wealth grows by optimization, not exhaustion. You don't get rich by working harder than everyone else. You get rich by thinking differently about what work even means. The world doesn't pay for effort. It pays for outcomes. You can't deposit busyness into a bank account. Look at how billionaires operate. They're not obsessing over 12-hour workdays. They're optimizing every decision for maximum leverage. They think in terms of returns on time, talent, and attention. The three currencies more valuable than money itself. Return on time, ROT time, is the one asset you can never get back. Wealthy people buy time, poor people trade it. They automate tasks, delegate responsibility, and design systems that free up their hours for high-value thinking. Every time you trade time for something that doesn't multiply it, you're making a bad investment. Return on energy, ROE, your energy is your fuel. Spending it on negativity, low-quality conversations, or unnecessary stress depletes your power to perform. The wealthy protect their energy like it's gold. They rest strategically, eat for clarity, and choose environments that elevate their mindset. Return on relationships. Are the right connections accelerate everything? Wealthy people don't network. They nurture. They build partnerships where everyone grows, not one-sided exchanges. If a relationship doesn't bring growth, peace, or opportunity, they don't invest more time in it. Return on decision. Rod, every decision either compounds or collapses your momentum. The rich don't rush decisions. They analyze the long-term payoff. They don't chase what feels good now. They choose what returns the most value later. When you think in terms of return, you stop glorifying busy. You realize that hustle without analysis is waste. You could be running faster than everyone else, but if you're running in the wrong direction, you're just getting lost quicker. Optimizing for return also teaches emotional discipline. It forces you to detach from ego-driven decisions. Just because something feels productive doesn't mean it is productive. Just because something feels urgent doesn't mean it's important. Wealthy thinkers know how to separate emotion from evaluation. Ask yourself, does this habit multiply my energy or drain it? Does this task move me closer to my goals or just keep me occupied? Does this relationship bring clarity or confusion? Does this decision expand my future or maintain my present? These questions train your brain to think like an investor, not just with money, but with life. The truth is, most people don't lack opportunities. They lack filters. They say yes to too much, commit to things that don't align with their goals, and spend time maintaining things that don't multiply value. But billionaires? They filter ruthlessly. They know that every yes costs 1,000 potential no's to better options. Wealth is a game of return, not reaction. When you begin to optimize your life this way, everything becomes intentional. Your work becomes lighter but more profitable. Your relationships become fewer but deeper. Your schedule becomes simpler but more powerful. You no longer chase success, you design it. And here's the paradox. When you stop doing so much, you actually achieve more. Because focus creates force. When your energy isn't scattered, it compounds. And compounding is the hidden law of wealth. Every billionaire has mastered this principle. Wealth is built not by addition, but by optimization. It's not about doing more things right. It's about doing fewer things excellently and eliminating everything else. The same applies to your mindset. Don't consume every piece of advice. Master the few principles that generate the biggest returns. Don't chase every new idea. Double down on the one that works. The goal isn't to move constantly. It's to move intelligently. Start tracking your returns like you track finances. Audit your time. Audit your focus. Audit your decisions. Ask yourself, where am I investing and not getting a return? Then start cutting the leaks. Because every wasted hour is compound interest you'll never earn again. The wealthy understand this on a cellular level. That life is an investment portfolio, and everything you do adds or subtracts value. Once you start seeing every minute as capital, you stop spending and start investing. So think like an investor, not a laborer. Build systems, not cycles. Seek optimization, not exhaustion. Because in the end, success isn't measured by how much you did. It's measured by what your actions returned. Everything has an ROI. Ask yourself daily, what's the return on this? And then adjust relentlessly. That's how wealth compounds. Not by working harder, but by working smarter. Not through exhaustion, but through optimization. Chapter 7. Build multiple streams of income. If your income has only one source, your freedom has only one condition, and that condition is fragile. A single stream of income may keep you afloat, but it will never make you free. Because when that stream dries up, so does your stability. The wealthy know this better than anyone. One income is survival. Many incomes are freedom. You don't build wealth by working harder at one job. You build it by creating multiple engines that run even when you don't. Each income stream acts like a financial safety net, but more importantly, it becomes a wealth multiplier. It allows you to make money while you sleep, think, travel, or create. For most people, money flows from one place, their paycheck. They trade hours for income and call it stability. But it's not stability, it's dependence. And dependence is dangerous in a world that changes faster than ever. The moment your single source of income stops, your entire life hits pause. Diversify intelligently, skills, assets, and investments. That's the modern formula for financial resilience. The wealthy don't rely on luck or one path. They spread their risk across streams that complement each other. Let's break it down. Skills. Your first and most important stream of income is you. The more valuable your skills, the more streams you can create. Learn high-income skills, communication, marketing, investing, technology, leadership, and use them to build offers, products, or services that can scale. Skills give birth to opportunities, and opportunities birth income. Assets. Skills produce cash flow. Assets preserve and multiply it. Assets are things that make money while you're not present. Real estate, businesses, intellectual property, digital products, stocks, and systems. The goal isn't just to earn, it's to own. Ownership turns effort into equity. Investments. This is where your money starts working harder than you do. Investing is how you convert income into independence. Whether it's stocks, startups, real estate, or digital ventures, investing ensures your money continues to flow and grow, even when your time doesn't. The key word here is intelligently. Diversification doesn't mean random expansion. It means strategic alignment. Each income stream should strengthen the others, not scatter your focus. A strong portfolio isn't just wide, it's connected. For example, a creator builds a personal brand, skill income, launches online courses, asset income, and invests profits into real estate or stocks, investment income. Each stream supports the next, creating a loop of growth. That's what true wealth is, a system of flow. Never depend on a single stream when you can build a system of flow. A system of flow means your money moves in a circle, not a line. You earn from one source, reinvest into another, and let it cycle back with more power. That's why the wealthy don't save for safety, they build for stability. Saving keeps money idle. Systems keep it active. They design frameworks where money circulates from effort to assets to investments back into expansion. Think of each income stream as a pipeline feeding into your financial reservoir. The more pipelines you build, the more stable the flow, even if one breaks. The secret isn't to build them all at once. It's to build them one at a time, with intention and patience. Start with your main income, your current job, business, or skill. Use it as the foundation. Then, allocate a portion of your income toward building or acquiring new streams. Maybe you start a side business. Maybe you invest in dividend-paying stocks. Maybe you create a digital product or rent out an asset. Over time, each stream compounds. The trap most people fall into is this. They try to earn more from one stream instead of building more streams. That's like trying to widen a single pipe instead of installing several new ones. The result? More effort, more exhaustion, but the same fragility. Billionaires think differently. They don't just focus on income. They focus on infrastructure. They build ecosystems of value where money flows through multiple channels. Their businesses feed their investments fund new ventures, and their ventures create new opportunities. It's a cycle of abundance. But here's the truth. Building multiple streams requires patience and systems. It's not about juggling 5 things at once. It's about mastering one, systemizing it, then moving to the next. You don't multiply chaos, you multiply structure. Every new stream should run with less of your time than the one before. That's how freedom is built, by creating income that doesn't demand your constant presence. So how do you start? Audit your current skills and income. What can be scaled? automated, or taught. Create something once, sell it forever. Write an ebook, launch a course, license your work, turn effort into assets. Invest early, reinvest always. Even small amounts compound over time. Treat investing as a necessity, not a luxury. Build for flow, not flashes. Aim for sustainability. Every stream should feed into a larger wealth ecosystem. Remember this, multiple streams don't just build wealth, they build security. When one area slows, the others keep you stable. That's why the wealthy rarely panic during economic downturns. They have income flowing for directions most people never even notice. One income source can be taken away, but a network of streams creates true independence. When your income comes from multiple places, your life becomes lighter. You stop chasing checks and start choosing opportunities. You stop worrying about survival and start focusing on expansion. That's when money stops being a master and becomes a multiplier. One income is survival. Many incomes are freedom. So start building your system of flow, one stream at a time. Because wealth isn't about working harder. It's about creating currents that never stop moving. Chapter 8. Protect your attention like your capital. If money is currency, then attention is capital. And in today's world, it's the most valuable one you own. In fact, your attention is worth more than your money. Because where your attention goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, your entire life follows. The wealthy understand this deeply. Attention is the new wealth. You can lose money and make it back. You can lose opportunities and find new ones. But once you lose your attention, once it's scattered across noise, notifications, and nonsense, you lose the foundation of every other success you could have built. Attention is the invisible driver behind every result in your life. Your income, health, relationships, and growth all reflect what you consistently pay attention to. Focus is the gateway to mastery. Distraction is the death of it. That's why billionaires treat attention the way investors treat money. They guard it, allocate it, and invest it only where it multiplies. Meanwhile, the average person spends it freely on gossip, drama, distractions, and digital addiction, and wonders why they never feel fulfilled or focused. Guard it from distractions, gossip, and digital addiction. We live in an attention economy. Tech companies, advertisers, and algorithms aren't selling products. They're buying you. Every notification, every scroll, every ping is a micro withdrawal from your mental account. You think you're browsing freely, but in reality, you're paying with focus. And attention spent on the trivial leaves nothing for the transformational. Gossip drains attention because it fills your mind with information that doesn't serve your future. Distraction drains attention because it forces your brain to switch contexts, killing momentum, creativity, and depth. Digital addiction is the modern thief of potential. It keeps you busy but not productive, entertained but not evolving. Your mind is your greatest investment platform, and attention is your capital. Every time you direct your focus, you're placing a bet on your future. Are you betting on progress or on procrastination? Here's the formula wealthy people live by. Every focused hour is an investment with compounding returns. One focused hour on a meaningful task can be worth more than 10 distracted ones. When you give full attention to something, learning a skill, building a system, refining a business, you create results that multiply long after the work is done. That's compound attention, time that pays dividends. It's not about how long you work, it's about how deeply you work. Depth produces transformation. Shallow focus produces exhaustion. Wealthy minds don't multitask, they monotask. They focus entirely, finish decisively, and move intentionally. Ask yourself, how many hours of your day are spent in true concentration? How many are diluted by noise, endless scrolling, reacting, comparing, consuming? Your success is determined not by how much time you have, but by how much of it you own. So treat attention the same way you treat money. Track it. Know where it's going. If you tracked your attention like your expenses, you'd see how much you've been wasting. Budget it. Not every task deserves your focus. Prioritize what creates growth. Cut out what creates chaos. Invest it. Spend your best hours, your peak energy, on high-return activities: creation, learning, strategy, health. Protect it. Set boundaries. Limit distractions. Guard your environment like a fortress. Attention leaks come from weak walls. The truth is, focus is freedom. Every time you protect your attention, you reclaim ownership of your life. You stop letting the world program your priorities and start programming them yourself. The wealthy don't wake up and scroll. They wake up and design. They know that the first hour of the day sets the tone for the rest. They don't waste mental energy on trivial inputs because they understand that mental energy is finite. You only get so much focus in a day. And if you give away to noise, you have none left for growth. Attention is also deeply tied to emotion. What you focus on, you feel. If you focus on problems, you experience stress. If you focus on possibilities, you experience power. That's why protecting your attention isn't just about productivity. It's about peace. When you master attention, you master energy. When you master energy, you master time. And when you master time, you master wealth. So, make your attention expensive. Don't give it away cheaply. Don't waste it on people who drain you, platforms that distract you, or content that numbs you. Every moment you spend on something meaningless is a compound loss, not just of focus, but of potential. Imagine your attention as a portfolio. You want to diversify it intelligently. Some in learning, some in creation, some in rest, some in relationships, but never in chaos. The goal is to invest it where it multiplies, not where it dissolves. Because attention invested creates assets, skills, systems, confidence, clarity. Attention wasted creates liabilities, regret, fatigue, anxiety, and stagnation. And here's the truth. The richest people in the world aren't just those who have the most money. They're the ones who have the most control over their attention. They own their focus. They decide where it goes, when it goes, and how long it stays there. That's the true definition of freedom, to direct your attention at will. So starting today, treat your focus like gold. Turn off what steals it. Guard it from people who drain it. Use it to build what compounds. Because attention, once protected, becomes power. And power, when focused, becomes prosperity. Attention is the new wealth. Protect it like your capital. Every hour you invest with focus builds interest in your future. Every distraction you indulge in robs you of compounding potential. So build your fortune not just in money, but in mastery of mind. Because once you control your attention, you control everything else that follows. Chapter 9. Replace consumer habits with creator habits. In every economy, digital or real, there are two types of people: consumers and creators. Consumers fuel the system. Creators own it. Consumers spend time, money, and attention. Creators multiply them. Consumers react to trends. Creators set them. And the defining line between financial struggle and financial freedom lies in which side of that equation you choose to live on. Most people are trained from birth to consume, to watch, to scroll, to buy, to follow. Consumption feels good because it's easy. It gives the illusion of participation without requiring creation. But here's the hidden cost. Every time you consume without purpose, you strengthen your dependency on other people's ideas, entertainment, and systems. You trade your creative potential for passive comfort. Meanwhile, creators build the very things that consumers feed on. Every platform you scroll, every product you buy, every video you watch, someone else created it. Someone else invested energy where you spend attention. Consumers spend time. Creators multiply it. This is the mindset of wealth, shifting from consumption to creation. Stop asking, what can I get? And start asking, what can I make? Stop scrolling through content and start producing content. Stop reacting to opportunities, start building them. Because here's the truth. The world rewards creation, not consumption. The person creating the app, the show, the business, or the idea earns while the consumer pays, in money, time, or focus. The more you create, the more valuable you become. Every day you create, you increase your worth. Creation is an act of ownership. Each time you build something, a skill, a system, a product, a brand, a story, you're adding to your personal equity. That equity compounds. What you create today becomes the foundation for tomorrow's freedom. Ask yourself this. What did you create this week that didn't exist before? Did you write something? Design something? Teach something? Solve something? The answer to that question reveals how much of your time is spent growing versus consuming. Most people are stuck in what I call the consumption loop. They wake up, scroll for inspiration, watch what others are doing, compare themselves, and end the day drained, without creating a single thing of their own. They consume energy from others instead of generating their own. But creators live differently. They begin the day with output, not input. They build before they browse. They create before they consume. They understand that creativity isn't just art, it's contribution. It's how they leave fingerprints on the world. Creation is how you shift from being a spectator of success to a producer of it. You can't change your life by watching someone else live theirs. Inspiration without implementation is just distraction disguised as progress. Here's a rule to live by. For every hour you consume, spend 2 hours creating. If you read a book, apply its ideas. If you watch a tutorial, practice it. If you listen to advice, execute it immediately. That's how you turn information into transformation. The more you create, the more you understand leverage. Creation multiplies your time because it creates assets that keep working for you. A video you make today can earn views for years. A product you design once can sell endlessly. A book, a business, a course, a piece of software, all continue creating value even while you sleep. That's the secret of the modern wealthy. They build digital leverage. They don't just work harder. They produce once, profit forever. They replace the habit of endless consumption with intentional creation, and that one shift changes everything. But creation isn't just about business or money. It's a mindset. It's about taking control of your narrative instead of letting the world feed it to you. It's about being proactive instead of reactive. A creative mindset says, I shape my environment. I design my outcomes. I build my world. When you live as a consumer, your value is measured by how much you spend. When you live as a creator, your value is measured by how much you contribute. The difference is identity. Consumers chase dopamine. Creators chase development. Consumers seek entertainment. Creators seek evolution. Consumers escape boredom. Creators transform it into innovation. And here's the paradox. Creation is also the cure for overconsumption. The moment you start creating, you realize how much energy you were wasting before. Your standards rise. You stop needing constant stimulation because you found something better. Purpose. Creating regularly builds confidence. Each output is a proof of capability. Each project reinforces your identity as a builder. You start trusting your ideas more, comparing less, and expressing more. And the more you express, the more opportunities find you, because creation attracts attention, and attention attracts abundance. That's why you'll never meet a truly wealthy person who's purely a consumer. Every single one creates ideas, investments, impact. They use consumption as fuel, not escape. They learn to consume strategically and create abundantly. Start small. You don't need to create a company overnight. Write a single paragraph. Share an idea. Start a side project. Build one new thing every week. Each act of creation is a vote for your future. The question isn't whether you're creative, it's whether you're expressing it. Creativity is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And once you get momentum, creation becomes your natural state. Shift from scrolling to producing, from reacting to building, from consuming to creating. Because every moment you create, you invest in your future self. And every moment you consume mindlessly, you invest in someone else's. In the end, there are two ways to live. You can consume the world others built, or you can create the world others will one day consume. Every day you create, you increase your worth. Because creation is the ultimate form of currency. It doesn't just earn you money, it earns you meaning. Chapter 10. Network intentionally, not socially. We've all heard the saying, your network is your net worth. But what most people miss is the word that truly matters, intentional. Because your network isn't about how many people you know, it's about who you know, why you know them, and how those connections align with your mission. In the modern world, everyone is connected. Thousands of followers, hundreds of contacts, endless conversations. Yet very few are truly supported. The truth is, most people network socially, not strategically. They chase connections for attention, not alignment. But the wealthy think differently. They build networks that compound, not ones that distract. Your network is not about quantity, it's about alignment. You don't need a crowd. You need a circle, one that sharpens, challenges, and elevates you. A small network of purpose-driven people beats a massive list of superficial contacts every single time. The wrong connections drain you. The right ones develop you. The people you surround yourself with shape your thinking, your energy, and your standards. If you're around builders, you'll start building. If you're around complainers, you'll start complaining. Environments don't just influence behavior, they program it. And that's why the wealthy are ruthless about proximity. Connect with people who build, not people who distract. Ask yourself honestly, do the people I spend time with talk about goals or gossip? Do they challenge my thinking or comfort my stagnation? Do they celebrate growth or cling to mediocrity? The answers to those questions will tell you whether your network is your ladder or your leash. Billionaires understand that relationships are leverage. One good connection can collapse a decade of struggle into a single conversation. One aligned partnership can multiply your income, your visibility, and your opportunities beyond what you could achieve alone. But leverage only works if it's intentional. The key word is alignment. You don't need everyone to like you. You need the right people to respect you. You don't need a network everywhere. You need to network strategically. The goal is not to collect business cards. It's to collect synergy. There are three kinds of people in every network. Drainers. They take your energy, time, and focus. They love complaining, but never change. Maintainers. They keep you where you are. They're comfortable with you as long as you don't grow past them. Builders. They expand your perspective. They challenge you to grow, evolve, and think bigger. The wealthy surround themselves almost exclusively with builders. Not because they want to use people, but because they understand that proximity determines possibility. When you're around builders, conversations turn into collaborations. Ideas turn into execution. Support turns into strategy. You grow by association because iron sharpens iron. The trick is not to find successful people, it's to find aligned people. People who share your values, your vision, and your drive for growth. Success without alignment leads to tension. Success with alignment leads to elevation. Networking intentionally also means contributing before you expect to receive. The best way to build strong connections is to create value. Offer insights, opportunities, and introductions. Be someone who gives energy, not just takes it. The wealthiest people in the world build relationships through generosity, not transaction. Stop chasing influencers and start collaborating with implementers. The real power players are not always the loudest or the most visible. They're the ones quietly building, executing, and expanding. Find them, learn from them, add value to them. Intentional networking also means setting clear boundaries. Not every event, call, or chat deserves your time. Socializing without strategy is just a distraction dressed as productivity. The goal is connection, not conversation. One meaningful relationship is worth more than 100 empty exchanges. Here's a principle to remember. It's better to have 5 people who elevate you than 50 who entertain you. The right network will save you from mistakes, shorten your learning curve, and expose you to opportunities you never knew existed. That's the compounding power of relationships. Wealthy people build ecosystems where everyone benefits because they know that collective growth multiplies individual success. So how do you start networking intentionally? Audit your circle. Identify who adds value, who drains it, and who aligns with your future. Set clear intentions. Know what kind of people you want to meet and why. Add value first. Be a giver, not a taker. People remember contribution more than charisma. Follow up with consistency. Relationships grow through repetition, not coincidence. Remember, your network is not built at parties. It's built through purpose. It's not about being liked. It's about being linked. Linked to people who elevate your frequency, challenge your comfort, and multiply your success. The wrong network can keep you stuck for years. The right one can catapult you in months. Choose wisely, because who you're around is often more powerful than what you know. Your network is not about quantity, it's about alignment. Connect with people who build, not people who distract. Relationships are leverage. Choose wisely. Because in the end, wealth doesn't just flow from ideas, it flows through people. And when you surround yourself with the right ones, success stops being a struggle. It becomes a shared journey. Chapter 11. Learn how to sell. Everything depends on it. If there's one skill that every billionaire has mastered, one ability that separates the financially powerful from the financially average, it's the ability to sell. Not products, not just services, but ideas, value, and solutions. Every person who has ever built something impactful, from a business to a movement, has one thing in common. They learned how to communicate value so clearly that others believed in it. Because sales isn't about convincing, it's about connecting. It's not about tricking someone, it's about helping someone see. Sales isn't manipulation, it's communication. The word sales often triggers discomfort. Most people associate it with pressure, persuasion, or deceit. But true selling, the kind billionaires practice, isn't about talking people into something they don't need. It's about helping them make the right decision faster. It's about guiding them from confusion to clarity. Every single day, you're selling, even if you don't realize it. You sell your ideas to your team. You sell your value to your employer. You sell your vision to investors, your effort to customers, your leadership to people who follow you. Selling is not a business skill, it's a life skill. Every billionaire mastered persuasion, not pressure. They understand that the core of sales isn't words, it's energy. People don't buy products, they buy confidence. They don't buy logic, they buy emotion. And they don't buy from strangers, they buy from people they trust. That's why the foundation of selling is authenticity. You can't fake belief, you must embody it. When you truly believe in the value you offer, your conviction does the selling for you. That's what great salespeople understand. They don't manipulate emotion, they transfer it. Look at any great entrepreneur. Elon Musk isn't just selling electric cars. He's selling a vision of a sustainable future. Steve Jobs didn't sell phones. He sold empowerment, creativity, and identity. Jeff Bezos didn't sell books. He sold convenience. The wealthiest people don't sell things. They sell beliefs that people want to belong to. Sales, at its core, is storytelling. It's connecting facts with feelings, logic with emotion, need with fulfillment. It's about painting a vivid picture of how life improves because of what you offer. The best salespeople don't talk about features. They talk about outcomes. The poor mindset says, I'm not good at sales. The wealthy mindset says, I'm always selling, whether I realize it or not. Because every moment you communicate, you're either selling someone on possibility or letting them sell you on limitation. You sell ideas, value, and solutions every single day. If you want to build wealth, master the art of moving people ethically, emotionally, and effectively. That means learning to listen deeply. Selling starts with understanding. The best salespeople talk less and listen more. They uncover what people truly need before offering what they think they want. Speak clearly. Simplicity is powerful. The wealthy know how to explain complex ideas in ways anyone can grasp. Clarity builds confidence. Confusion kills deals. Empathize authentically. Connection beats persuasion. When people feel understood, they open up. When they feel sold to, they shut down. Focus on value. You're not selling a product, you're solving a problem. The moment you shift your mindset from making money to making meaning, everything changes. True selling isn't about getting something from people. It's about doing something for them. When your intent is to elevate others, your impact and your income multiply naturally. Here's what most people never realize. Sales is the foundation of every form of wealth. You want to start a business? You must sell your vision. You want a promotion? You must sell your competence. You want to lead people? You must sell belief in your direction. You want investors? You must sell potential and trust. Everything depends on your ability to sell, because selling is how you align the world with your ideas. But selling isn't about words, it's about presence. People don't buy what you say, they buy how you make them feel. They buy confidence, certainty, and conviction. They buy your ability to solve problems and your belief in your own value. That's why the greatest salespeople are also the greatest students of psychology, human behavior, and communication. They don't study closing tactics, they study connection. They understand that people don't want to be sold, they want to be understood. Sales mastery comes down to 3 elements: belief, clarity, and empathy. Belief in yourself, your product, your mission. If you wouldn't buy from you, why should anyone else? Clarity, knowing exactly what value you deliver and how to articulate it in a single sentence. Empathy, the ability to feel what the other person needs before they express it. When these 3 align, sales stops feeling like selling. It feels like serving. And here's the deeper truth. Every time you sell something ethically, you're helping someone move from limitation to transformation. You're giving them a solution they didn't know how to find. Selling becomes noble when it's rooted in purpose. Billionaires know this. They don't see selling as convincing. They see it as contributing. They're not ashamed of it because they understand that value uncommunicated is value wasted. If you can help someone and don't know how to express it effectively, you're not being humble, you're being irresponsible. So stop fearing the word sales. Start mastering it. Because whether you're selling a product, a service, or a vision, you're shaping the world through your communication. Remember, people buy confidence, not desperation. They buy clarity, not confusion. They buy from trust, not tactics. Sales is not about tricking people into a yes. It's about giving them a reason to believe that yes serves them. So learn to sell. Study communication. Understand people. Refine your message. Because every idea, every movement, every empire starts with one person who could sell their vision so powerfully that others saw it too. Sales isn't manipulation, it's communication. Every billionaire mastered persuasion, not pressure. You sell ideas, value, and solutions every single day. And once you master that, you'll never just make money again. You'll create impact, influence, and income, all through the power of your words. Chapter 12. Invest in skills before assets. Every great fortune begins the same way. Not with capital, not with luck, but with capability. Money may open doors, but skills keep them open. Before you can multiply wealth in the world, you must multiply it within yourself. The greatest investors, entrepreneurs, and innovators all know this one truth. The highest ROI investment is your own mind. You can lose your job, your money, even your business, but if your skills remain, you'll rebuild it all. That's why billionaires never stop learning. They know that markets crash, systems change, and industries evolve, but competence compounds. Skills are the one asset that can never be taken from you. Most people do the opposite. They chase external assets, stocks, real estate, crypto, hoping to get rich fast, while ignoring the internal engine that creates those opportunities in the first place: skill. But wealth doesn't flow to money, it flows to mastery. Skills compound faster than markets ever can. You can double your income in the stock market once in a while, but you can double your value through learning anytime you decide to. And once you do, that value pays dividends for life. A single skill, learned deeply, can open doors that money never could. Look at the wealthiest people on the planet. They didn't start with assets, they started with abilities. Warren Buffett mastered the skill of capital allocation. Elon Musk mastered engineering and storytelling. Steve Jobs mastered design and communication. Oprah mastered empathy and influence. Their skills built the assets, not the other way around. That's the difference between fragile wealth and forever wealth. Fragile wealth depends on external forces. Forever wealth depends on internal capability. Skills can survive recessions, disruptions, and revolutions because they adapt with you. So what skills should you invest in? The ones that scale, the ones that multiply your impact across any industry or economy. 1. Communication. This is the master skill. Every deal, idea, and opportunity depends on how well you communicate it. The ability to articulate thoughts clearly, persuade confidently, and connect authentically is priceless. Communication turns talent into influence and knowledge into income. 2. Problem solving. Money flows to those who fix problems. The bigger the problem you can solve, the bigger the paycheck that follows. Problem solvers don't panic. They analyze. They approach obstacles like equations, breaking them into parts, testing solutions, and adapting quickly. That's how leaders think, and that's why they get paid to lead. 3. Leadership. Leadership isn't about titles. It's about energy. It's the ability to move people toward a vision. Leadership means taking responsibility, making decisions, and inspiring others to act. When you lead effectively, people trust you, and trust is the most valuable currency in business and life. 4. Systems thinking. The wealthy see life as interconnected systems, patterns that repeat, processes that can be improved, levers that can be pulled. Systems thinking allows you to scale. It helps you see beyond the surface, to automate, delegate, and design smarter workflows. It's how businesses evolve from chaos to consistency. Each of these skills doesn't just add value, they multiply it. Together, they form the foundation of financial independence. Because once you can communicate, solve, lead, and systemize, you can build anything, anywhere, anytime. Learn skills that scale: communication, problem solving, leadership, and systems thinking. Think of your mind as a portfolio. Every new skill you acquire is a new investment, one that compounds with time and practice. The more you learn, the more leverage you create. You're no longer limited by circumstance or opportunity because you create both. Here's the formula billionaires live by. Assets give you income. Skills give you infinite income potential. Money is limited by what you already know. Skills expand what's possible. So before you invest in real estate, stocks, or startups, invest in you. Buy courses, read books, learn relentlessly, not to collect information, but to build execution power. Every new skill you master increases your earning potential, your decision-making precision, and your freedom to pivot in any economy. And remember, learning isn't just about accumulation, it's about application. A skill becomes valuable only when it becomes usable. Don't just study, practice. Don't just memorize, master. The goal isn't to know everything. It's to know something so deeply that the world pays you for it. The truth is simple. If you don't learn, you'll be leveraged. But if you master valuable skills, you become the leverage. The economy doesn't reward effort. It rewards effectiveness. Skills make you effective. They turn hours into output, effort into excellence. Every skill you build increases your autonomy. You stop depending on luck, bosses, or markets, and start depending on your competence. And competence is freedom. So yes, buy assets, but build yourself first, because your skills are the engine that drive every investment forward. You are your most important enterprise, your most profitable investment, your most powerful asset. The highest ROI investment is your own mind. Skills compound faster than markets ever can. Learn skills that scale: communication, problem-solving, leadership, and systems thinking. Because money may grow through markets, but wealth grows through mastery. And once your skills compound, no economy, no crash, no crisis can ever take your wealth away, because it's built into you. Chapter 13. Master emotional control under pressure. Wealth doesn't just test your intelligence, it tests your emotional stability. Because once you begin to grow financially, every decision becomes magnified and every reaction becomes amplified. Money doesn't change you, it reveals you. It brings your fears, insecurities, and impulses to the surface. That's why the truly wealthy understand this fundamental rule. Money magnifies who you are, not who you want to be. When times are good, everyone looks rational. Everyone feels calm when markets rise, when income is stable, when life is predictable. But pressure, financial, emotional, or situational, exposes your inner architecture. It shows whether your discipline is genuine or dependent on comfort. Emotional stability is wealth preservation. The difference between those who stay rich and those who lose everything often has nothing to do with strategy. It has to do with self-control. The markets can't destroy wealth faster than emotions can. One impulsive decision made out of fear or greed can undo years of intelligent planning. Fear makes you freeze when you should move. Greed makes you chase when you should wait. Ego makes you defend mistakes instead of correcting them. And together, they form the emotional triangle that destroys more wealth than recessions ever could. Make decisions from logic, not fear or greed. This is the unshakable mindset of every high-level investor and entrepreneur. They know that logic protects what emotions destroy. They train themselves to respond, not react. Because in high-pressure moments, the one who can stay calm the longest wins. Think of emotional control as your financial thermostat. When you're ruled by emotion, you overheat or freeze, losing balance. When you're guided by logic, you stay at the optimal temperature, making decisions that sustain your momentum. Here's what most people don't realize. Emotional control isn't the absence of emotion. It's mastery over it. It's being able to feel deeply but decide wisely. It's allowing fear to inform you, not imprison you. It's allowing excitement to inspire you, not misguide you. That's why billionaires invest heavily in self-awareness. They journal, reflect, meditate, or use coaches, not because they're fragile, but because they understand that managing emotion is managing wealth. A clear mind compounds faster than a chaotic one. In business and investing, emotions distort perception. When you're fearful, risk looks bigger than it is. When you're greedy, risk looks smaller than it is. Either way, your vision gets blurred, and blurred vision leads to bad judgment. The disciplined investor has learned to pause before reacting. When markets crash, they don't panic sell, they analyze. When opportunities surge, they don't rush and blindly, they verify. They understand that patience under pressure is not passivity, it's power. The same applies outside of money. Emotional control determines how you lead, how you negotiate, how you communicate, and how you recover from setbacks. The most successful people in the world aren't calm because life is easy, They're calm because they've trained their nervous system to stay steady while others crumble. They practice detachment, not indifference, but perspective. They know that pressure is temporary, but principles are permanent. And that's what guides their decisions. Here's how you begin mastering emotional control under pressure. 1. Build awareness before action. Notice your emotional triggers. What makes you react? Criticism, loss, uncertainty, risk? Awareness interrupts impulsive behavior. Once you see the pattern, you gain power over it. 2. Create space between stimulus and response. When tension rises, pause. Even a few seconds of stillness can prevent years of regret. Breathe, step back, and let emotion subside before making decisions that carry consequence. 3. Anchor yourself to data, not drama. When emotion floods your mind, reach for facts. Logic acts as your anchor in emotional storms. Don't trust your feelings under pressure. Trust your frameworks. 4. Practice long-term thinking. Fear and greed thrive in short-term vision. The moment you zoom out to months, years, decades, emotions lose their power. Long-term clarity dissolves short-term chaos. 5. Protect your mental environment. Surround yourself with people who stay composed under stress. Energy is contagious. Chaos multiplies through proximity. Calm thinkers stabilize teams, investments, and decisions. Because the truth is, emotional mastery is wealth management. If you can't manage your emotions, you'll never manage exponential growth, because success brings pressure, and pressure magnifies flaws. Remember this: wealth without emotional control is like driving a race car with no brakes. It doesn't matter how fast you go, you'll eventually crash. The greatest investors don't win because they predict markets perfectly. They win because they control themselves perfectly. They trust discipline more than instinct, and process more than panic. In moments of crisis, when everyone else loses their composure, emotional control becomes your unfair advantage. It allows you to see clearly while others see chaos, to move rationally while others move reactively. And it's not just about money, it's about identity. The ability to remain calm under fire builds a reputation of reliability. People trust calmness. They follow it. They invest in it. Because calmness under pressure signals strength. And in the economy of trust, strength is currency. So, master your emotions before they master your wealth. When things get uncertain, return to logic. When greed whispers, return to patience. When fear screams, return to principle. Because wealth isn't sustained by intelligence alone. It's sustained by emotional intelligence. Money magnifies who you are, not who you want to be. Emotional stability is wealth preservation. Make decisions from logic, not fear or greed. The more pressure you face, the calmer you must become, because composure, not chaos, compounds over time. And when you master emotional control under pressure, you don't just protect your wealth, you become unshakable. Chapter 14. Use failure as feedback, not finality. Failure. It's the word most people fear, yet it's the language every success story speaks fluently. There isn't a single self-made millionaire or billionaire who hasn't stumbled, lost, or been rejected countless times. The difference between those who stay stuck and those who succeed is simple. The wealthy use failure as feedback, not finality. They understand that every setback carries data. Every disappointment carries direction. Every mistake carries momentum, if you choose to read it that way. Failure teaches what comfort never could. Comfort keeps you safe, but it also keeps you stagnant. Failure stretches you, sharpens you, and forces you to evolve in ways success never will. Most people run from failure because they see it as proof they're not good enough. The wealthy, however, run toward it because they know failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the path to it. You can't refine your aim without missing the target a few times. You can't master anything without first misunderstanding it. Each loss refines strategy and strengthens mindset. Every time you fail, you gain something priceless: information. You learn what doesn't work, where your assumptions were wrong, and how to approach it smarter next time. That insight compounds, creating wisdom that no book or mentor could ever substitute. Failure is the world's most honest teacher. It doesn't flatter you, it doesn't comfort you, and it doesn't sugarcoat truth. It shows you your weaknesses, exposes your blind spots, and humbles your ego. And that's why most people avoid it, because they'd rather protect their pride than improve their performance. But here's the secret. The wealthiest people invite failure into their process. They experiment constantly. They test ideas, launch quickly, and adapt rapidly, because they know perfection is paralysis and progress is built on iteration. They don't aim to avoid mistakes. They aim to make new ones. The poor mindset says, "What if I fail?" The wealthy mindset says, "What will I learn when I do?" Because failure, to them, isn't an end, it's an evaluation. It's feedback from reality. It's the world's way of saying, "This approach didn't work. Try another." That's how the greatest companies, creators, and investors operate. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Walt Disney was fired for lacking imagination. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company before returning to build Apple into a global empire. Each of them used failure as a mirror, not a gravestone. They didn't see rejection as a reason to quit. They saw it as a recalibration toward what was right. The wealthy analyze, adjust, and advance. That's the formula. When something doesn't work, they don't react emotionally. They respond strategically. They analyze the outcome without judgment. They adjust their approach without hesitation, and they advance again without fear. Failure loses its power the moment you strip it of shame. It becomes mechanical, not personal, just feedback. And feedback is fuel for growth. Here's a truth few people grasp. The more you fail, the faster you evolve. Failure compresses experience into insight. Every loss teaches you lessons that success could never reveal. It's the pressure that forges precision, but only if you let it. Only if you study it instead of resenting it. When you fail and reflect, you grow. When you fail and blame, you repeat. The wealthy know that the point of failure isn't to prove your worth. It's to improve your wisdom. They treat every setback as data, not drama. Ask yourself, what went wrong? What did I learn? How can I adjust for next time? That's it. 3 questions that transform pain into progress. Because the truth is, failure is never final unless you stop learning. The only real failure is quitting, refusing to extract the lesson hidden inside the loss. Think of success like a staircase. Every failure is one step up, painful, yes, but necessary. Each one builds resilience, refines character, and trains focus. Without them, your success would have no foundation. In fact, success built without failure is fragile. It collapses under pressure because it was never tested. But success built through failure is unbreakable because it's forged in adaptation. That's why billionaires and innovators don't fear losing. They fear not learning. They know that mistakes made early are cheaper than mistakes made later. They'd rather fail fast and grow faster than stay safe and stagnate. Failure gives feedback. Feedback creates adjustment. Adjustment creates mastery. So don't avoid failure. Engineer it. Set bold goals that scare you. Try things that might not work. Take calculated risks. Because even when you lose, you gain experience, perspective, and growth. Every great investor, athlete, or creator has a long record of failures behind their name, but they're only visible to those who look beneath their success. Those failures are the blueprint, not the blemish. The world may only celebrate your victories, but you'll know your failures built them. So next time you fall short, don't curse the fall. Study it. Extract what it came to teach you. Then move, stronger, sharper, and smarter. Because failure isn't there to stop you. It's there to shape you. Failure teaches what comfort never could. Each loss refines strategy and strengthens mindset. The wealthy analyze, adjust, and advance. Failure isn't your enemy. It's your most faithful mentor. And if you keep listening, learning, and leveling up, you'll eventually realize that every failure was just success in disguise. Chapter 15. Understand the compounding law of consistency. If there's one universal principle that quietly builds empires, strengthens minds, and multiplies wealth, it's the compounding law of consistency. It's not luck. It's not massive overnight effort. It's small, deliberate actions, repeated with precision, over time. Because while motivation gets you started, consistency keeps you unstoppable. Success doesn't happen in explosions. It happens in layers, brick by brick, step by step. Each act of discipline, each moment of focus, each tiny improvement. They may look insignificant alone, but together they compound into something extraordinary. That's why the greatest performers in every field, from billionaires to athletes, live by one truth. Tiny improvements multiplied daily create exponential results. Compounding is the most powerful force in nature and in life. It doesn't just apply to money, it applies to momentum. The same principle that grows a bank account grows your skills, health, confidence, and mindset. The small, repeated actions you take today may not pay off immediately, but over months and years, they transform into something unstoppable. Most people underestimate consistency because they overestimate intensity. They chase quick wins instead of lasting progress. They sprint for a few days and then collapse, forgetting that success is a marathon built on rhythm. True growth happens when you stop starting over, when your actions become automatic. Compound effort in finances, health, and mindset. In finances, compounding is obvious. Every dollar you save, every smart investment you make, every decision you repeat consistently, they build momentum. But wealth doesn't just grow from money, it grows from habits. Small financial decisions, like tracking expenses, investing monthly, or learning one new concept each week, compound into financial mastery. In health, it's the same law. One workout doesn't make you fit. One meal doesn't make you healthy. But the pattern, the daily commitment, does. Every time you show up for yourself, even when you don't feel like it, you're stacking invisible wins that eventually redefine your body and your energy. And in mindset, compounding becomes even more powerful. One positive thought, one productive day, one calm response under pressure. These build resilience. They rewire your brain. Over time, consistency turns into identity. You no longer have to try to be disciplined. You become disciplined. That's the hidden magic of compounding. It transforms behavior into belief. The more consistent you are, the more you start to trust yourself. Every kept promise builds self-respect, and every act of follow-through builds self-momentum. And once momentum kicks in, progress becomes effortless. The world measures results, but life rewards rhythm. Consistency is rhythm, the steady pulse that builds power. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. It's repetitive. But that repetition is what creates excellence. The wealthy understand this perfectly. They don't make one massive move and retire. They make 1,000 small moves that stack, systems that run daily, habits that compound silently. They know that time multiplies effort when effort is consistent. And that's where most people fail. They quit before the compounding curve turns upward. They underestimate the early stages, where progress feels invisible. But that's exactly when compounding is doing its most important work, building the foundation. Think of it like planting bamboo. For years, you see nothing above the surface. But underground, the roots are spreading deep. And then suddenly, it explodes upward, growing feet per day. That's how consistency works. It's quiet before it's dramatic. The compounding law doesn't reward those who do more. It rewards those who keep doing. Because consistency compounds exponentially, not linearly. 1 day of effort means little. 10 days means momentum. 100 days means mastery. And here's the most beautiful truth. The longer you stay consistent, the harder you are to stop. Because consistency builds resilience. It removes emotion from execution. You stop asking, "Do I feel like it?" and start saying, "It's just what I do." You build systems that move even when motivation fades. And over time, that predictability becomes your power. Consistency also compounds confidence. Each day you follow through, you prove to yourself that you can. That quiet self-assurance becomes your armor in moments of doubt. You stop fearing failure because you've built evidence of your ability to endure. The same law applies to every domain of life. Consistent learning compounds into wisdom. Consistent saving compounds into wealth. Consistent kindness compounds into trust. Consistent focus compounds into greatness. There's no secret shortcut, only compound effort. The small, often invisible actions you repeat daily are what build the results everyone else will one day call luck. So stop underestimating your small wins. The habits you repeat today, waking early, studying, journaling, planning, showing up, are the silent architects of your future empire. Success doesn't come from intensity. It comes from continuity. If you stay consistent long enough, you won't need to chase opportunities. They'll start finding you. Because consistency builds gravity. It attracts. It pulls success into your orbit naturally. So whatever your goal is, wealth, mastery, health, peace, remember, it's not built in bursts. It's built in repetition. It's built in commitment. It's built in the unglamorous moments when no one's watching, but you keep showing up anyway. Because when you master consistency, you master compounding. And when you master compounding, you master inevitability. Tiny improvements multiplied daily create exponential results. Compound effort in finances, health, and mindset. The longer you stay consistent, the harder you are to stop. Keep stacking your small wins. Because one day, they'll look like a miracle, but you'll know they were simply the math of consistency. Chapter 16. Buy time before luxury. If there's one universal distinction between those who stay broke and those who build wealth, it's this. The poor spend for status. The rich buy for systems. One buys to impress. The other buys to progress. And that single difference in mindset determines whether your money serves you or enslaves you. The poor mindset equates wealth with appearance. It believes success is visible. A bigger car, a fancier watch, a flashier lifestyle. But the wealthy mindset knows true success is invisible. It's the freedom to wake up and decide how your day unfolds. Because at its core, your most valuable purchase is freedom of time. Luxury isn't owning more, it's owning your time. The ultimate status symbol isn't a designer logo or a corner office, it's autonomy. It's being able to say no to jobs, obligations, and opportunities that don't align with your purpose. It's having the power to build, rest, and live on your schedule, not someone else's. That's why the rich don't buy things that steal time. They buy tools that create it. They outsource. They automate. They delegate. They invest in systems that make their money, work, and life move without constant input. Because they know time, not cash, is the true currency of wealth. The poor work harder to afford luxuries. The rich work smarter to afford leverage. Stop flexing, start freeing. Every dollar you earn is a seed. You can plant it in things that grow, assets, systems, education, or things that fade, status, trends, ego. What you buy today decides whether you build freedom or feed vanity. The poor buy to look rich. The rich buy to become rich. The poor mindset says, I deserve this. The wealthy mindset says, I deserve freedom. Freedom doesn't come from earning more. It comes from spending wisely. Most people earn just enough to trap themselves. They raise their lifestyle every time their income rises. They buy luxuries that chain them to longer work hours, heavier debts, and deeper dependency. The wealthy do the opposite. They delay luxury until systems can sustain it. They invest in assets that pay for their lifestyle. That's why their comfort grows automatically, not emotionally. They buy time first because they know that every free hour can be reinvested into learning, creating, or building. And every hour invested that way compounds into exponential returns. Here's how the wealthy think about spending. Buy time before toys. Hire help. Automate tasks. Eliminate errands that drain energy. The goal isn't to prove how busy you are. It's to remove what doesn't move you forward. Buy tools before treats. Invest in things that enhance your productivity, books, courses, software, systems. Anything that sharpens your mind or scales your output is worth more than anything that shines on your wrist. Buy assets before appearances. If it depreciates, delay it. If it multiplies, prioritize it. Let your investments buy your luxuries, not your labor. Because every time you buy time, you expand possibility. Every time you buy luxury, you shrink it, unless that luxury earns its place through your system's success. Ask yourself this: would you rather look rich for 5 years or be free for 50? The answer determines how you spend your next dollar. Think about it. The truly wealthy don't chase luxury. They attract it. They don't have to prove their worth because their time is proof. Their life looks effortless because they've bought back the one thing everyone else wastes: hours. They understand that time is an investment vehicle. Every moment you reclaim can be reinvested into growth, relationships, health, and creativity. And those reinvestments pay infinite dividends. But when you trade time for appearance, you bankrupt your future for validation in the present. You build a life that looks impressive from the outside, but feels empty from the inside. The truth is simple. Status fades, but systems scale. The designer clothes wear out. The cars depreciate. The trends expire. But the habits, businesses, and investments you build with your reclaimed time, those compound forever. So before you buy another thing to impress someone who doesn't matter, ask yourself, does this purchase buy me time or take it away? Because every expense is either buying you more freedom or stealing it quietly. You'll notice this pattern among billionaires. They don't chase clutter, they chase clarity. Their lives are built around leverage. Other people's time, other people's skills, automated systems, and scalable income. They're not minimalists out of frugality. They're minimalists out of focus. Every unnecessary responsibility, every new possession that requires maintenance, every hour spent managing what doesn't matter, all of it is time theft. And wealthy minds protect time like the poor protect money. That's the great paradox. The people most obsessed with luxury often have the least freedom. And the people least obsessed with showing wealth often have the most of it. Because real wealth isn't how much you can spend, it's how little you have to. So stop flexing. Start freeing. Use money to buy the most luxurious item on earth. Control your time. The poor spend for status. The rich buy for systems. Your most valuable purchase is freedom of time. Stop flexing, start freeing. Because when you start buying time, you stop renting your life. And once you own your time, you finally own everything else. Chapter 17. Leverage technology. Don't let it leverage you. We live in the most technologically advanced era in human history, an age where opportunity hides behind every screen. Never before has it been easier to build wealth, learn skills, and reach the world. Yet paradoxically, never before have so many people felt distracted, drained, and directionless. The difference lies in one truth the wealthy understand better than anyone. Billionaires don't fear tech, they master it. Technology by itself isn't good or bad. It's a tool, a lever. And like any lever, it amplifies whatever it's attached to. In the hands of the undisciplined, it amplifies distraction. In the hands of the focused, it amplifies domination. The same smartphone that wastes one person's time creates another person's fortune. The same algorithm that drains one person's attention drives another's income. The gap isn't an access, it's an application. The average person uses technology for consumption. The wealthy use technology for creation, automation, and amplification. The poor scroll. The rich systemize. That's why billionaires view tech as leverage, not entertainment. They don't fear automation replacing them. They build systems that use automation to replace inefficiency. They don't get lost in the flood of information. They engineer filters that extract insight, automate income, simplify decisions, and scale impact with digital tools. That's the formula of the modern wealth creator. They use technology not to escape work, but to eliminate friction. They understand that automation isn't laziness, it's leverage. Every process you automate gives you back time, energy, and mental bandwidth that can be reinvested into creation and strategy. Here's how the wealthy leverage technology intentionally. 1. Automate income. The wealthy don't trade hours for money. They build systems that make money while they live their lives. They automate e-commerce, digital products, investments, and content pipelines. Passive income isn't about doing nothing. It's about building something once that works forever. Automation turns work into infrastructure, and infrastructure compounds wealth. 2. Simplify decisions. Decision fatigue kills creativity. Billionaires use technology to remove trivial choices. They use tools to track finances, schedule priorities, manage teams, and monitor investments, freeing their minds for high-level thinking. Every decision automated is a drop of focus saved for what truly matters. 3. Scale impact. Technology gives you global reach at minimal cost. With one post, one product, or one video, you can reach millions. With the right systems, your message, brand, or service can scale infinitely. The wealthy don't use tech just to sell. They use it to serve at scale. That's how they create impact and influence simultaneously. Technology is the great equalizer, but only if you use it intelligently. Most people let technology use them. They become slaves to notifications, dopamine loops, and digital noise. Their attention, the most valuable resource they have, gets fragmented by every ping and scroll. But here's the truth. You can't win in a world that controls your focus. That's why the rich treat technology like fire. Useful when contained, destructive when uncontrolled. They use it to light up systems, not to burn their discipline. They build digital boundaries that protect their focus. They turn off notifications for non-essential apps. They batch their online time instead of living inside their screens. They use social media as a publishing tool, not a playground. Because they understand this simple principle. Use technology to multiply focus, not fragment it. Your devices can either be extensions of your vision or prisons for your attention. It depends on whether you control them or they control you. Think about it. Your phone holds access to mentors, books, skills, businesses, and opportunities that once required decades to reach. You can build an entire company from your pocket. But most people use that same tool to waste hours on content that builds nothing. The wealthy don't demonize technology. They discipline it. They use digital tools as force multipliers to compress time, reduce manual effort, and expand reach. They know that when used intentionally, tech isn't competition, it's collaboration. The modern billionaire doesn't work harder. They work smarter through systems. They understand that tech allows one person to do what once required a team of 10. AI, automation, analytics, these aren't threats, they're amplifiers. But only if you own the tool. The moment the tool owns you, you stop building wealth and start feeding algorithms. Here's a mental shift to remember. If you're not paying for the product, you are the product. When you use technology mindlessly, your attention becomes the commodity. Companies buy and sell it while you think you're using a free service. The rich understand this. That's why they use tech to create assets, not addictions. The average person scrolls aimlessly. The wealthy scroll strategically. One seeks entertainment, the other seeks insight. You don't need to be a tech genius to benefit. You just need to be intentional. Learn tools that amplify your goals. Use automation to reduce repetition. Treat your time and attention as sacred and let technology serve them, not steal them. Start simple. Automate your savings and investments. Use scheduling tools to protect your calendar. Learn one software skill that can scale your output. Turn your knowledge into digital leverage, courses, content, or systems. Every small optimization compounds. Every minute saved becomes another minute earned. The irony of modern wealth is this. The same technology that distracts millions is making millionaires. The same devices that waste lives are building legacies. The difference isn't in the tech, it's in the temperament of the user. So, don't fear the digital world. Master it. Don't escape it. Engineer it. Because the future belongs to those who know how to command tools, not those who are consumed by them. Billionaires don't fear tech, they master it. Automate income, simplify decisions, and scale impact with digital tools. Use technology to multiply, focus, not fragment it. Technology isn't your competition, it's your leverage. And when you learn to command it, you'll realize you are never in a race against machines. You are only in a race against your own distraction. Chapter 18. Manage energy like capital. In the pursuit of wealth, most people obsess over managing money. But the wealthy know that before you can manage capital, you must learn to manage capacity. Because at the root of every great decision, every empire built, every problem solved, lies one common fuel: energy. Money is a reflection of value. Value is created through action, and action requires energy. That's why the truly wealthy understand that your energy is your earning engine. You can have the best strategy, the best tools, the best opportunities, but without energy, none of them can execute. Every hour of focus, every burst of creativity, every intelligent decision you make depends on how well you've preserved and directed your energy. The poor trade it recklessly, burning it on stress, distractions, and drama. The rich treat it like gold, investing it where it multiplies and guarding it from everything that drains it. Guard your health, rest, and clarity. They're non-negotiable. Energy is not infinite. It's a limited daily deposit that must be allocated intentionally. Just as an investor diversifies their portfolio, you must learn to diversify your energy across what produces the highest return, work that fulfills you, relationships that empower you, and habits that replenish you. Because when energy is managed with purpose, it compounds into momentum. But when it's mismanaged, it compounds into chaos. You can't scale chaos. You can't build sustainable success on exhaustion. Burnout isn't a sign of ambition. It's a sign of mismanagement. The mind and body are your first and greatest assets. When they break, every other asset collapses with them. That's why billionaires, elite performers, and visionary creators guard their health like investors guard capital. They don't skip sleep for hustle. They don't sacrifice clarity for constant motion. They understand that stillness is strategy, that rest is not retreat, it's recalibration. They manage energy across 4 dimensions. 1. Physical energy, your foundation. Your body is the vessel for your goals. When you neglect it, everything slows. Nutrition, exercise, hydration, and sleep aren't just healthy habits. They're performance protocols. Every decision you make, every problem you solve, every conversation you lead depends on the quality of your physical energy. A weak body can't sustain a strong vision. 2. Mental energy, your focus reservoir. Your mind burns energy faster than your muscles. Constant notifications, multitasking, and overstimulation drain your cognitive reserves. The wealthy protect mental bandwidth through boundaries. They schedule focus time, practice mindfulness, and eliminate digital clutter. Because clarity isn't found, it's protected. 3. Emotional energy, your stability. Your emotions dictate your endurance. When you're constantly reactive, you leak energy in every direction. Emotional discipline, through reflection, gratitude, or perspective, helps you conserve strength for what truly matters. The wealthy know how to detach from drama and remain grounded under pressure. They spend emotion strategically. 4. Spiritual energy, your direction. This isn't about religion, it's about alignment. When you know your why, you generate self-sustaining energy. Purpose gives power. Without it, even rest feels restless. The rich don't just work hard. They work with meaning, and meaning is the ultimate energy multiplier. When these 4 energies align, you become unstoppable. Your decisions sharpen. Your focus deepens. Your execution accelerates. But the opposite is also true. When one area collapses, the rest follow. Poor physical health kills focus. Mental clutter kills creativity. Emotional chaos kills momentum. Spiritual emptiness kills motivation. That's why managing energy is not optional. It's essential. Think of it like financial capital. You earn energy through rest, nutrition, and recovery. You spend energy through work, problem solving, and focus. You invest energy in growth, learning, building, connecting. You waste energy through overthinking, negativity, and burnout. The goal isn't to work harder, it's to allocate smarter. You don't need to maximize hours, you need to optimize output per hour. That's what the wealthy do differently. They design their lives for energy efficiency. Their environments are optimized, clean, intentional, distraction-free. Their mornings are structured to activate momentum. Their evenings are built to restore it. They run their lives like high-performance machines because they know fatigue leads to fragility and clarity creates control. Here's the paradox. The world glorifies exhaustion, yet exhaustion is the enemy of excellence. You can't think sharply, lead effectively, or grow strategically from an empty tank. Every mistake you make under pressure is an energy mistake first, not a knowledge mistake. That's why sustainable success requires stillness. It requires daily rituals that recharge you. Movement, solitude, reflection, boundaries. These aren't luxuries, they're maintenance. You wouldn't run a car without oil. Why run a mind without rest? The most powerful people in the world don't just measure their income. They measure their energy output. They track when they're sharpest, when they're tired, when they need recovery. Because they know that in business, as in life, fatigue is failure in slow motion. You can't scale a life that drains you. You can only scale what sustains you. So, manage your energy like capital. Audit it. Protect it. Multiply it. Spend it where it compounds, not where it collapses. Because in the end, energy is the foundation of everything you build. Your time matters. Your money matters. But your energy controls them both. Your energy is your earning engine. Guard your health, rest, and clarity. They're non-negotiable. You can't scale chaos. Protect your mental and physical reserves. Because the goal isn't to burn out proving your power. It's to stay fueled long enough to build your empire. Chapter 19. Adapt or be eliminated. The world doesn't stand still, and neither should you. Every day, the game changes. New technologies rise, industries shift, consumer habits evolve, and the rules that once worked suddenly stop working. The difference between those who thrive and those who vanish is brutally simple. The market rewards learners, not laggers. Change isn't an obstacle. It's oxygen for evolution. The moment you stop adapting, you start decaying. The greatest threat to your success isn't failure, it's comfort. Comfort convinces you that what worked once will work forever. But nothing ages faster than outdated strategies. What made you valuable yesterday can make you irrelevant tomorrow. That's why the most successful minds, billionaires, innovators, leaders, live in a constant state of reinvention. They never assume they've arrived. They know mastery has no finish line. Every system, every skill, every belief gets questioned, refined, and re-engineered to fit the future. Reinvent constantly. What worked last year might fail tomorrow. Think about it. Blockbuster thought it was unbeatable until Netflix rewrote the rules. Nokia ruled communication until the smartphone revolution. Kodak had the camera industry in its grip, and then digital technology buried it. None of them lost because of incompetence. They lost because of inflexibility. They stopped learning while the world kept evolving. The truth is the speed of change has never been faster, and it will never be this slow again. That means the skill of adaptation isn't optional anymore. It's survival. Flexibility is the ultimate form of intelligence. The most powerful people today aren't the ones with the most knowledge. They're the ones who can unlearn and relearn faster than everyone else. The ability to pivot, experiment, and evolve is the new superpower. Because in a world that changes every minute, rigidity is self-destruction. Adaptation requires humility. The humility to admit that what you know may not be enough, and the courage to explore what you don't. It's not about abandoning your principles. It's about upgrading your methods. The wealthy understand this deeply. They study patterns, trends, and feedback relentlessly. They don't fight change. They forecast it. They anticipate where attention, value, and opportunity are moving and position themselves ahead of the curve. Here's the billionaire mindset. I don't predict the future. I prepare for it. They invest in learning. They experiment with emerging tools. They build flexible systems that can bend without breaking. They don't cling to tradition. They adapt it. Adaptation isn't chaos. It's strategic evolution. It's how you stay relevant when others resist. It's how you build systems that evolve faster than disruption. To adapt effectively, you must master 3 disciplines. 1. Constant learning. Read voraciously. Learn from diverse fields. Study psychology, technology, history, and human behavior. The best ideas often come from outside your industry. Curiosity is your greatest protection against extinction. 2. Feedback-driven reinvention. Listen to your results. Data is truth. Emotion is distortion. Let feedback guide your evolution. The best adapters don't fear correction. They seek it. Every piece of feedback is a compass, showing you where to adjust next. 3. Emotional flexibility. Change feels uncomfortable. That's normal. But the emotionally intelligent embrace discomfort because they know growth hides behind it. Fear is a signal, not a stop sign. The faster you move through discomfort, the faster you evolve. Adaptation isn't just a skill, it's a philosophy. It's about never getting attached to being right. It's about staying open, curious, and experimental. The world belongs to those who keep updating themselves like software, version after version, iteration after iteration. The people who fall behind aren't the ones who fail. They're the ones who refuse to upgrade. The moment you think you know enough, the game moves on without you. Look around. Industries rise and fall every few years now. Businesses are built overnight and disappear just as quickly. Those who adapt to new tools, new markets, and new thinking not only survive, they lead. Because while others are defending their past success, the adaptable are creating their next one. Adaptation is not about panic. It's about positioning. The wealthy don't react to change. They ride it. They see disruption not as destruction, but as a distribution of opportunity. When something collapses, something else always opens. The key is to stay fluid enough to move with it. So, reinvent constantly. Audit your systems regularly. Challenge your own assumptions ruthlessly. If your skills, routines, or beliefs haven't evolved in a year, you're already behind. Because in the modern world, irrelevance doesn't announce itself. It happens quietly, while you're comfortable. Stay a student always. Stay curious, not certain. Stay moving, not static. The market rewards learners, not laggers. Reinvent constantly. What worked last year might fail tomorrow. Flexibility is the ultimate form of intelligence. In nature, the strongest species don't survive. The most adaptable do. The same is true in business, wealth, and life. So don't just evolve when forced to, evolve by design. Because the future doesn't belong to the biggest or the bravest. It belongs to the ones who adapt fastest. Chapter 20. Think legacy, not luxury. At some point, every wealth journey reaches a crossroad. The moment when you realize that more money, more possessions, and more status no longer fill the space you thought they would. You start to see through the illusion that society sells, that luxury equals fulfillment. The wealthy who reach this point and keep chasing luxury end up hollow. The ones who transcend it, the ones who begin to think legacy, build something that outlives them. Because wealth without purpose is emptiness with zeros. Luxury fades. Purpose compounds. The cars, the watches, the mansions, they all lose shine with time. But meaning doesn't depreciate, it multiplies. When your reason for building wealth shifts from ego to impact, your life transforms from accumulation to contribution. That's when success stops being about you and starts being about something greater. The real goal isn't to look rich, it's to stay relevant. Relevance isn't about fame, it's about value. It's about continuing to matter in a world that's constantly evolving. Luxury displays what you've earned. Legacy displays what you've learned. Luxury ends with you. Legacy extends beyond you. Every billionaire, every visionary, every true builder eventually realizes this truth. Luxury is comfort for the body, but legacy is nourishment for the soul. And when your soul is satisfied, your ambition becomes infinite. Not because you want more, but because you want to mean more. Wealth that doesn't serve others eventually turns on itself. That's why the most fulfilled, wealthy people, the ones who sleep peacefully, who feel grounded, are the ones who've redirected their success in a service. They build schools, fund innovation, create opportunity, and mentor the next generation. They understand that real status doesn't come from what you own. It comes from what you enable. Legacy thinkers don't ask, how can I earn more? They ask, how can I expand more, mentally, morally, and meaningfully? Because legacy isn't about what you leave behind. It's about who you become along the way. Legacy is character, not currency. It's the integrity you maintain when no one's watching, the lessons you leave in others' hearts, the standards you set that ripple through generations. Legacy isn't an inheritance, it's an imprint. Ask yourself this. If everything you've built disappeared tomorrow, what would remain? Would people still feel your impact? Would your name still represent something powerful, honorable, or transformative? Luxury buys applause in the moment. Legacy earns respect for a lifetime. The truly wealthy know this, that luxury is easy to buy, but legacy must be built, nurtured, and earned. It's not found in possessions, but in principles. The more you grow, the more your life must move from accumulation to articulation, from owning things to expressing truth. Here's what legacy thinkers do differently. 1. They build with intention. Every choice, every project, every partnership aligns with a deeper mission. They don't chase trends. They create timeless value. Their work solves real problems and uplifts others long after they're gone. 2. They teach and transfer. Legacy thinkers don't hoard knowledge. They share it. They mentor, write, speak, and build systems that outlive them. They know wisdom only becomes eternal when it's passed on. 3. They lead with integrity. Legacy is built on consistency of character. You can't fake authenticity. Over time, people forget what you said or sold, but they remember how you made them feel and whether your actions match your words. 4. They measure wealth and impact, not income. They count lives changed, not likes gained. They care about the depth of their influence, not the display of their lifestyle. Their focus shifts from what can I get to what can I give that lasts. Because at the end of your life, no one will read your bank statement at your funeral. They'll talk about your contribution, your kindness, your courage, and your consistency. They'll talk about the times you made others feel seen, safe, or inspired. The true test of success isn't how high you climb. It's how many you lift on your way up. Thinking legacy doesn't mean rejecting luxury. It means understanding its place, enjoying success without being enslaved by it. Luxury is temporary comfort. Legacy is eternal continuity. Luxury can decorate your world, but only legacy defines your worth. The wealthy who last, across decades and generations, are those who choose purpose over performance. They build something deeper than wealth, relevance. They remain valuable because they never stop growing, giving, and guiding. Your legacy begins the moment you decide to make your success mean something. You don't need billions to leave an impact. You just need intention. A business built ethically, a family raised with wisdom, a community improved through effort. Every small ripple of goodness compounds, just like capital, into something immeasurable. So, start building for more than applause. Build for endurance. Build for meaning. Build so that when people hear your name, they don't think of what you owned, they think of what you stood for. Because someday, the luxury will fade. The spotlight will move. The metrics will reset. But the legacy, the lessons, the love, the leadership, that stays. Wealth without purpose is emptiness with zeros. The real goal isn't to look rich, it's to stay relevant. Legacy isn't about what you leave behind. It's about who you become along the way. So don't just chase success, craft significance. Because wealth may build your lifestyle, but only legacy builds your life story. Wealth is a science, and now you know the formula. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's mindset. The rich don't think about money the way the poor do. They see opportunity in chaos. They see leverage in limits. They see value where others see risk. You've learned the 20 rules that define the modern billionaire mindset. But knowing is nothing. Applying is everything. Shift your focus from effort to efficiency, from hustle to systems, from income to impact. Build daily. Think long-term. Stay calm when others panic. Because the real formula isn't about money. It's about mastery. Master your thoughts, your time, and your energy, and wealth will follow naturally. The science of getting wealthy is the science of becoming valuable. So stop chasing wealth. Start becoming it. Every choice is a deposit. Every habit is a transaction. Play the long game. Think in decades. Build your legacy. This is your moment to rise, not just to make money, but to make meaning. Because true wealth isn't what you earn, it's who you become.